Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast Markets. This edition of Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by Axon Tire, helping dealers move more iron for the past 100 years. For more information, go to axontire.com. If you'd like to get yourself a free Axon resource mouse pad so you can do all the metric conversions between tires and whatnot, check that out. Go to axontiretips.com and read all the articles, white papers and stuff there, what you see, and then go down the bottom, fill out the form, and they will send you not one but two Axon Tire resource mouse pads. So everyone's excited about getting, if you have ambidextrous or if you got two computers or one for your bag, whatever,
in case you're trying to land a military drone,
whatever you need, check that out. They'll send that over to axontiretips.com and they will send that over to you. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours. And no matter how you buy your ag equipment, whether it's from a dealer, an auction, or a private party, AgDirect can help you finance it. You can even apply online at agdirect.com. Learn more about your financing options at agdirect.com.
Do you have a fast forward button on your butt somewhere? Because you just started reading that in like time and a half.
This segment of the Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by TractorZoom. With access to over $20 billion worth of heavy machinery sales data, TractorZoom's Iron Comp is the industry's trusted solution for transparent heavy equipment values and auctionable insights. So
did somebody exhume the micro machines guy?
So this week I've got Brett Carlson in here filling in for the vacationing Sean Hackett on the Moving Iron Market segment here. So Brett is a friend of mine. He has a podcast called the Dryline Farmer Podcast, and he farms down around the Amarillo area and does a little Amarillo and does a little bit of trading on his own. So Brent is what town you live? Hereford. You live in Hereford, right? Hereford, Texas. So he lives down in Hereford, and so I want to get Brent on and talk about what he sees happen in the market in place for Sean this week. So Brent, how you doing, man?
I'm great. Where do Moving Iron Podcast contributors go on vacation? Where does the Moving Iron Podcast send them?
I don't know. Sean lives in Florida, so I don't know if you live in Florida, most people vacation there. I don't know exactly where you would go on
your
vacation.
Backyard, I guess, or what?
I guess they go to Kansas for vacation. I guess I don't know. Something completely opposite.
God, I hope not. Oh.
Let's go to an inland lake for vacation this year. What do you think?
Sounds great to me. Oh man, everything's as good as can be expected down here. We got the corn. We're starting to see some corn tasseling and everything, and it's just in time for it to have a 7-day forecast of 100 degrees every single day. So we're really looking forward to that, and that should spike the mite population. So we're really excited about that. We're going to have picnics up and down the headlands of these fields just for the mites, and it's only going to cost us $35 an acre to have that. So we're really excited about the mite parade that's fixing to waltz through all the cornfields. So, and the 100-degree heat to affect our pollination. So we're really excited about all that.
That's good news.
And we're expecting to have sprinklers start getting stuck about 2 in the morning, right out in the middle of the field, not anywhere close to the edge of the field. So we've got a lot on our plate. We're really looking forward to a great summer.
Yeah, everything's exciting. So I think you're going to have a very impressive farming season for you, because what else would be a good farming season without a bunch of stuff breaking and getting stuck in the middle of nowhere at the middle of the night, right?
So one of our neighbor friend, farmer friends, he's actually a doctor too, a retired doctor, but he always said the best way to fix the sprinkler out in the middle of the field is get all your tools, walk out there, throw them all in the mud, and then start over. That way you can just go ahead and get that out of the way right off the bat. So yeah, considering the year we've had weather-wise, corn looks pretty good. It's not going to be super tall, but you can still grow good corn. It's not super tall. So anyway,
well, let's talk a little bit about what we saw happen here over the last couple of weeks. We saw corn, wheat, everything on the board just get hammered. Saw a pretty good bounce back coming into the first this week, and then the stocks report came out. WAS report came out yesterday, and typical USDA fashion, there's a bunch of stuff that just was more than expectations. Look at the wheat market, for example. I don't know what wheat looks down in your neck, like what wheat harvest was like in your neck of the woods, but up here and through Kansas, people I've talked to, there's just not a lot of wheat out there. There's parts that have some good, obviously good yields and those kind of things, but pretty sparse in between. So I guess what's your reaction to some of the stuff you saw in the WASDE report?
So first of all, down here, the wheat crop, there was not one. There was 0 dry land. Actually, no, I take that back. We had 4 little corners that made 7 bushels. So that really made a great year. And but no, the wheat down here, I think if you even sniffed 30 bushels and you're irrigated, you were pretty pleased.
Yeah.
So but it's when it doesn't snow all winter, you're not going to make any wheat. But as far as the market in general, it's kind of like a Rocky movie. Like he starts kicking ass like the first 15 minutes of the or the first 5 minutes of the fight, and then he does everything but die for the next 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And then somehow he gets this superhuman streak to come back and win. Now, I don't know if that last part of the movie is going to be in the markets or not, but right now we're getting in the part where Rocky gets almost killed before he gets up off the mat. So it's we were just at $7 corn how long ago? We'll pull it up here.
Ago.
And like this morning the CPI came out and it was 9.1%, worse than they expected. So, but I don't guess the commodities are a part of that, but it didn't really affect any of these overnight grains that came out here at 7:30. But I'd say, so looking back here on the chart, back in May, we were at 770, and now we're at 570 or 585. It's kind of the old adage, high prices take care of high prices. All these cliches, everybody hates to hear. The problem is with it is that they're always true.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens. So, you have to that's the problem with farmers is a lot of the times we forget all we can think about is the supply side. We don't think about the demand side. And nothing is more, y'all aren't cotton up there, but nothing's more pertinent to that than cotton. And there's just so few traders in the cotton market that they can, the swings are just wild. We were at $1.20 just, a month ago, and now and you couldn't get a contract. They wouldn't contract with you because they were afraid to. And that really makes for an easy marketing year. You can go on the board and get options and everything, and they were so expensive, so much juice put into them that it was hard. But the wheat, we didn't have any wheat ourselves. We had like a circle and a half is all we had this year. And I would say in our area, not just us, I bet 30-40% of the wheat that was cut was probably all caught for seed, just to make sure they had it for this year, for this coming fall.
Yeah.
And so that's, I don't know if that's a big enough number to factor in, in the macro market aspect, but I know, the stuff you're allowed to catch, everybody caught just to make sure that they had grazing for the fall. So a lot of that went on. I don't know about, up in Kansas, or y'all probably have a fair amount of wheat in Nebraska, I would think.
In my area, there is, if you go kind of start going south from about all the way from the South Dakota border all the way down kind of the eastern edge of the Panhandle and kind of into the central western part, I don't know, of the Panhandle, kind of all the way down through Colorado, eastern Colorado. There's a lot of wheat in there, but it's the same situation like you just talked about. Not very much of it's irrigated. What is irrigated, they'll do okay with, but a lot of dry land stuff. And I've been hearing anything from, 15 to 20, it's just not it's not there what they thought. We had a freeze come in, a late freeze come in back in May, I think, like late May. That kind of zapped it pretty good. So that hurt it pretty good. But I'm reading this report here, and the trade was expecting 1.781 billion bushels. And I'm sorry, the trade expected 1.75 billion bushels, and the USDA came up with 1.781 billion bushels, which is up from June. So I don't know where they got that number from, but everyone I've talked to was wheat has been under the expectations of what they were expecting. Even just winter wheat by itself, if you take that in consideration, it was 1.201 billion bushels is what was reported, and it was expected 1.186 billion bushels. So, there's some difference there, but with the struggles that you saw with soft red winter wheat up in the north and spring wheat and those kind of things, with all the water they had up there, you would think that there would be a bigger swing in the wheat market than we see right now, and especially what's going on in Ukraine and Russia with all that. But they are trying to get some. Russia keeps sending out stolen wheat, so I don't know if that's worth more. Is that like black market wheat? Is that what that is? I'm not for sure, but
Black sea wheat.
Black sea wheat. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you start seeing these things happen, you would think that there'd be a lot more movement. There'd be just a lot more bullish.
Yeah. It's like any other bull market. If you don't exceed expectations by a good stretch every single time.
Yeah.
Like again, back in May, we were at $14. Well, this is September now, wheat, but for Kansas City. But to be able to hold wheat in the teens, you got to have some massive, over and over and over again.
Right. Yep.
Because otherwise it's just going to, 14, and now we're at 9, so less than 9 in September. But that's just really all there is to it. High prices. And, then you got, of course, demand destruction. And of course, now, even crude oil, I haven't looked at crude oil this morning. I can go over here and pull it up. I know it was $8 lower yesterday.
Yeah. It got hammered yesterday.
Yeah. And, I always find it interesting how literally within an hour, if you have a huge move up in the crude market, you go to a gas station and it's up, but it doesn't work the same way when it goes down.
No, it's funny how that works.
It takes 8 days, not 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Crude's down another $1.20. So, we're getting in the mid to low 90s now. So,
yep.
And that's just killer. So.
Talk about cotton a little bit. So cotton there for a minute was all the way up to like $1.40, and then it's kind of trickled its way back down. Last time I saw it, the end of last week, it was like $1.09 or something like that.
Okay, see, it's a trickle would be a little understatement, because right now March, so you can only get a contract out of March now. They're not even doing December, and it's at $82.50 in March.
Oh wow!
It's down another $4 right now.
So
it's just it's absolutely tanked. And, like you look over here at the volume, this is overnight volume, but like in December, where you usually, that's your new crop year, there's only 9,200 contracts. This has been overnight. And, you look at the corn, like, sugar has got 17,000. Nobody ever talks about sugar, but, cotton, there's just so few traders, and it's just I cannot believe it's not a more liquid market than it is, but it's, because cotton's, one of those things that you have to wear to be able to go into a bank. So,
Right.
So, they literally have it on I don't know how many Bank of Americas I've had tried to go into, and I had no shirt, but I had a ski mask on, and they wouldn't let me in. I don't know what the hell their problem was, but I don't know why it's not a more liquid market. But
when you're looking at what's wheat cotton like down there now? You're irrigated obviously, but your dry land's probably all burned up, right?
So, well, we didn't even plant dry land. So, of course, Lubbock, which is 100 miles south of us, that's the heart of cotton country. And their crop is like, I would say poor to very poor, very high in that. There's not drought. They're giving up. Of course, their irrigation is pretty weak. It always has been. They never had a real thick aquifer, but they're even giving up on irrigated wheat, on irrigated cotton. They just can't keep up with it. And, so we go, they plan about the same, they start planting about the same time we do, but they could plant until, maybe the second week of June. But, we went through there last week of May, and a lot of them hadn't even started planting yet, because they got a big, stretch of rain, and that area down there is just sand and clay. And you can have an inch of rain, and then 2 hours later, your field's blowing out.
Right.
That kind of deal. So they were doing that, they had that to deal with. And I don't know, the crop, I don't see how it's going to be anywhere close to whatever the trend line is. Right. And, our cotton up here looks pretty good, because we did, we're a different we're a completely different environment altogether. But Lubbock and South Plains is obviously the heart of cotton country, and the crop's just not there. I mean, the die has already been cast. People are already given up. The abandonment's got to be off the charts. I mean, on dry land, and that's pretty much only other thing they can grow down there. Maybe is milo and maybe a little wheat.
Yeah.
But they're not growing. They're not growing any corn. They're not growing any forage crops because there's just not any irrigation, and then the soil is also not very conducive to that. So cotton crop's going to be pretty short unless this is just all demand destruction. Of course, I think the other big thing you got going against the cotton is the strong dollar. Cotton is probably more, it's probably the most affected by a strong dollar than any other commodity, I would think. Maybe, I don't know if crude is, but, now you're parity with the euro. When's the last of that? Hadn't happened in, I don't know, 20 years or something.
Yeah,
but
it's been a while.
It's that puts a real big dinger on the cotton. So, of course, I hadn't even watched the Chinese yuan or however you say it, but they tried to peg against us on the dollar. So anyway, but cotton crop's going to be pretty short.
Yep. Do you hear anything out of East Texas as far as what the cotton crop looks like?
Just banjos. Just banjos.
You hear anything out of them over there that's any more promising about cotton over there?
Oh, you don't really hear much about cotton over there. It's usually all South Plains and, maybe even down in the valley down far deep South Texas. But, that East Texas is a whole different deal. I think, you get over there, you're getting into more hay. I don't know how many cotton acres they have. They probably have more than I figure. But if you're talking actual East Texas, you start getting timber and all that over there. But it's pretty amazing. Like you get not quite East Texas, but they'll start planting corn in second week of February.
Yeah.
It's the Blacklands, they call it, down around Waco and stuff down there. But it's you don't really hear. I mean, I don't hear a whole lot of cotton out there. It's mostly all South Plains. So.
Right on. Okay. All right. Let's talk about what you see happening. You're a cattle guy, so you got some cattle going there. So you're watching that market, and you got your show cows. You're taking all over God's green earth and sun and showing those things around. You look at the cattle market now. What are some of your reactions? What you see happening there?
It's unbelievable on the feeder cattle. I mean, you're seeing what 8 weights bringing $1.80. I mean, that's unbelievable. What is that, Casey? That's how much a head was that? 1,400 a head. I need to get my 10-year-old in here to do the math. But $1.80 times you get 8 weights. That's $14.40 a head. That's unbelievable. But of course, down here, all the feed yard guys, the guys got cattle in the feed yard, they're really grumbling because the what y'all are getting up in Nebraska is just unbelievable. Y'all are getting, what do y'all get? Of course, y'all are dressed, use the time, but on a live basis, northern cattle are getting $13, $14 more per pound on these fat cattle. They're getting, what are they getting? $1.40. Let's see. Let me pull this up here since I've got this great invention called the internet. But I think, are they getting $1.38 down here in Texas? It's let me see here, daily market summary. 1,800 traded in Texas. Let's see. The north they're getting $1.45. The south has $1.37, $1.38. So $8 to $10 difference in the just in the live trade between the north and the south. And I don't know why that is. But we got a cow calf operation, and we fortunately got some rain in places where we got grass. We started grazing emergency CRP the first part of June, and they let you do that for free since we're in a D4 drought on the drought monitor. So we went and took advantage of that, and so there's a lot of that going on. The pasture, we've had right here in Hereford, we've had 4 inches for the year. So, that's bad enough for the crops as it is, but the pasture was a really desperate situation. So I haven't really heard a whole lot of herd culling. We have that huge cow processing facility there in Hereford. And, of course, all the dairies here, they really load it up with cows every day. So, but I haven't really heard of a whole lot of liquidation yet. We did catch some rains here and there. A good part of the panhandle is, we're the driest part of the panhandle by a good stretch. Everything basically not here has had almost an average year. You get east of Amarillo and it's almost above average. But yeah, it's a great time to be. I mean, cattle, corn is getting cheaper now, and packers are they're still making, they're still buying planes every other week. Cargill's no telling how many planes they've got, but they're making 300 plus a head still. So yeah, I mean, if you got pasture, it's a great time to own cattle. If you can get 1,400 a head on a calf going to the yard, that's pretty damn stout. So as far as the cattle market going, people are holding their heads pretty high.
Yeah, right on. Okay. Well, Brent, appreciate you being on the podcast. Where can they find the Dryland Farmer podcast? How can they follow you on the Twitterverse?
Well, you can follow me at Trader Brent, and then I think my co-host, he's out of jail. No, yeah, he's out. No, you can find Landon Nolan. He's my co-host at No Twit Landon 44. And of course, we're on the Global Ag Network, and then you can find our podcast all over the place. We're kind of all over the place on our content, so we try to don't let the farmer part fool you. We don't really talk hardly any farming, so we have a good time doing it. And every once in a while, we'll invite Casey Seymour on there to provide some fashion advice and other types of popular culture references. So check us out over there.
A lot of craft advice, those kind of things, how to update
lots
your
of
house.
Crafting, a lot of scrap. Casey's a big scrapbooker.
Yeah, like scrapbook. More. I like to do more video scrapbooking than anything, but that's one of my favorite.
He's the Leslie Knope of the podcast universe. Yeah,
right on, dude. Appreciate you being on the podcast, man. Thanks for filling in.
Hey, man, it was a lot of fun.
Right on. I'm Casey Seymour with Moving Iron Podcast. Make sure to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Moving Iron LLC, LinkedIn at Moving Iron Podcast, and go to the YouTube channel Moving Iron Podcast, and you can see the video version of this podcast here. My friend Alex Yurchenko is over in Ukraine right now passing out humanitarian aid. So if you want to help him out, go to the show notes. There's a link there. You can go to his GoFundMe page, and that will help him out immensely. So with that, one more thing, go to movingironllc.com and sign up for the Moving Iron Summit coming up here in Nashville, Tennessee, September 6th, 7th, and 8th. And that'll be a good time. A lot of good information, a lot of good speakers this year. So check that out. And if you're a dealer, good place to hang out for a couple of days. So with that, I'm Casey Seymour with Brent Carlson. Let's go move some iron, folks. Out.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hardworking people working hard for you and me. Moving higher, time and time again. Through the years, you'll find us here. Moving